Hey everyone, welcome back to the latest GoSkills Excel Challenge solution. How close did you get to solving it? Joining us today is GoSkills' own Maria Fernanda Castro with her solution. Check it out right now.
Hey guys, how did you tackle this challenge? I'm excited to show you my solution. As we mentioned at the start, we're building an interactive sales report and chart using formulas, no pivot tables this time. The first task was to fill in the categories and sales columns of this table. So let's start with the category column using XLOOKUP. I'll type in XLOOKUP, open parentheses, select the item name as the lookup value, then select the array where we're looking it up. This is where formatting your range as a table is so helpful. It makes the formula much easier to handle and read. For the return array, select the category column, close parentheses, and we're done. Now, for the sales column, we'll use a similar approach, but with a slight tweak. Again, select the item as the lookup value, look it up in the relevant column, and return its price per unit multiplied by the quantity in this table. Close parentheses, and our first task is complete. Now, let's move on to task 2. Calculate the total sales for each item within a specified date range. So first, let's create a drop-down list for easy date selection. You can see I've already assembled some helper tables here. So using the unique function, I'll grab all the dates in the table. They are displayed as numbers, but we can quickly change that to a short date format. So now let's go to Data, Data Validation, and select List. Perfect. Once we have created the data validation list, we'll paste it here as well. Now let's calculate the total sales per item for the selected date range using SUMIFs. Start by typing equals SUMIFs, then select the sales column as the sum range. For the first criteria range, let's choose the date column and set the condition to greater than or equal to the from date. Next, for the second criteria range, again select the date column and set the condition to less than or equal to the to date. Finally, for the third criteria range, select the item column and set the criterion as the item name in cell K16. And that's done. We have got the total sales per item during a specified date range. Now comes the exciting part, creating the chart. We'll start by adding categories to drive what the chart displays. I've already set up a helper range for this. Let's not forget to include an all category, which will show all the items. So that's what I'll do first. I'll copy paste the items column here. To filter items by category, I'll use filter. So let's type in equals filter, select the items column, and filter by the category that matches here. Let's copy paste the formula across, and we are done. I'll name this range as categories and create a drop-down list in this cell. Let's go again to data, data validation, and then list. Just type in equals categories, and it will automatically update. Now I have set up a helper range that mirrors the data here, but with an extra column called the show column. This column will indicate which items to display in the chart based on the selected category. So for example, if all is selected, every item will show a 1 in the show column. If only the breakfast menu is selected, only items in that category will display a 1. So we'll use the sum product for the show column, because remember guys that sum product can actually count cells that meet multiple criteria. So here we wanted to count items that match both the selected category and the specific item. So let's type in equals sum product, and let's open parentheses again, and we'll select this range with all the items and equal that to cell K41. We'll multiply this by our second criteria, which is the categories range that we had named before, and that should equal what is displayed on cell Q12. Let's close parentheses and done. Now we can drag the formula down and you'll see a 1 appear only for the items that belong to the selected category. Now, for our chart to be dynamic, we need to filter only the items on sales marked with 1 in the show column. I'll use filter again, selecting the spilled array and filtering by the show column. So let's type in equals filter, open parentheses. Let's select cell K41 and add a hashtag at the end to indicate it's an spilled array. And let's filter by the show column, which should equal 1. Now, do you remember that our chart requires the data to appear in descending order? Well, this is the perfect time to start working on that. And we'll use sort by. So we'll add the sort by function at the beginning of our filter formula. And we'll take this first argument and copy paste it into the second argument. But instead of selecting the spilled array, we'll select the sales column. And we'll place a comma here at -1 to indicate we want it in descending order. So far, you won't notice anything because we haven't added any sales data yet. So for that, I'll use the old VLOOKUP to extract the sales from the array. Let's type in VLOOKUP, open parentheses, select cell K59, add the hashtag, and then we'll select this range and select the column 2, which is the sales column, and add false for an exact match. As you can see, the sales are now displaying in descending order thanks to sort by. So this is the helper range that I'll use to populate our chart. Now let's go to Insert, Recommended Charts, and let's select this column chart, which happens to suit this type of data. I'll adjust it to this space. I'm on my Mac, so you can just adjust it by pressing Option and expanding or shrinking it as you want. Now, look that when I change the category, the new data displays weirdly. That's because the chart is not dynamically adapting to the data here. But fixing this is quite simple. So, if we go to the chart and select data, you'll see that the chart is selecting data that's outside the spill range. And that's why we end having these pesky blank spaces here. So we want to change this bit to be dynamic. And to do that, we'll need to give our spill ranges a name. Let's escape this and go to Formulas, Name Manager. I'll add a new one. The first will be Items. And this will refer to the spill range that groups the items here. To make it a spill range, just add the hashtag symbol at the end of this cell. Perfect. I'll do the same for the sales. We'll select the first cell in the spill. Let's go to Formulas, Name Manager again. Give it a name, Sales in this case. And let's add the hashtag at the end of this fixed cell. Perfect, that's done. Now we need to update this info on our chart. So let's go back to Select Data. And let's go to Y values first. We just need to replace this last bit, which is currently a fixed range, with our sales tag. Great. We'll do the same for our X values and replace them with items. And that's done. You can now see our chart adapts beautifully, depending on the number of items each category has, no more empty spaces. Now the last bit is to add a dynamic title, right? So we want the title of our chart to be Sales of category name from date to this date. So we'll recreate this in this cell. Let's type in equals sales of. I'll use the ampersand symbol to concatenate. Let's select the category cell from ampersand again, the date in this cell, ampersand, to, and the date here. But as you can see, the formatting for the date still looks a bit odd. We can easily fix it with a text function. So we'll place it right before cell L12 and add the format we want to appear, which should be consistent with what we already have, and then place another text function right before cell L13. Again, the same format. And now it's ready to go. Now let's update the chart title by clicking on it and typing equals in the formula bar, and then select the cell with your dynamic title. The chart will automatically update. Great. To make your chart more readable, I recommend increasing the title size, for example, adding bold data labels, and removing unnecessary lines like these ones. And that's it. I'm curious to hear how you solved this challenge. If you aren't subscribed to Microsoft 365, how did you handle the dynamic arrays? Join our Slack channel and let us know. See you soon.
So there it is. Did you get the same results? Did you use the same approach? Or did you try something different? We'd like to know. Share your take on the challenge in the comments below or join us for more discussion in our Slack channel. Link in the description. Thanks for participating, and make sure to subscribe to this channel to get an alert when the next challenge is released. We'll see you then.